You know, the beauty of green graffiti has always been that it's a really strong communication tool, right? It's self-expression.
My name is Max. I'm a fourth-year student at Vancouver Island University, and I want to create graffiti street art. Nicholas Riggle argues that there are three types of graffiti art: mere graffiti, artistic graffiti, and street art, with only the latter two counting as art. The separation between artistic graffiti and street art is simple. Street art must make use of the street. By exploring three different forms of graffiti street art that are considered alternate, I hope to uncover whether or not they have the ability to reclaim a public space. I will use rich secondary sources to develop three conditions that must be met to satisfy my question. Nicholas Riggle, the author of Transfiguration of the Commonplaces, believes that street art must make material or artistic use of the street, meaning that if you were to remove them from the street, they would lose their meaning and just be art. George Stowers, who argues for graffiti's merit as art, believes that a reason for its power is that it is not hemmed in by the confines or laws of the gallery system or the museum. This means that my alternate form must not be confined and be accessible. Lastly, we have Mandy Moore and Leanne Prain. Their idea for alternate forms of graffiti state that it should be eye-catching street art without damaging property, or arguably breaking the law. This means that it should attract attention without damaging the property or hold the creator responsible for a criminal offense. From this, we can simplify the conditions, with the graffiti form needing to meet all three to qualify as reclaiming the public space. The three conditions are: it must make use of the street or pedestrian area, it is not confined by laws or systems, and that it is eye-catching without damaging property. Now that the conditions are set, you can start my exploration into alternate forms of street art. I will be exploring three different types of alternate street art: yarn bombing, reverse graffiti, and artificial reality graffiti. By examining and participating in these types of graffiti, it will allow me to gain a greater understanding of the power that they potentially hold. I want to start with the most permanent alternative style that I can do: reverse graffiti. Reverse graffiti is a somewhat recent addition to the world of graffiti, but it has been around forever. Essentially, whenever you drew a smiley face on a car in the dirt, or a "watch me" sign on a dirty wall, you created reverse graffiti. To do this, all you need is some stencil material, in this case that's 40 mil thick polypropylene, an idea, and something to cut the stencil out with. Once you've cut, and cut, and cut, you can finally take your stencil out and start making art. This works best on a very dirty wall, one that is cleaned somewhat easily. The interesting thing about reverse graffiti is that it lies in a pseudo-gray zone of legality, because technically you are not adding anything to the wall, you are only removing the dirt. Because of this, several ad agencies have popped up that specialize in creating reverse graffiti advertising, which shows you how desperate companies are to attach onto graffiti and how it reaches a mass audience in the public sphere effectively. I really enjoyed doing reverse graffiti, mainly because of where it lies in terms of legality. The idea of it has existed for a really long time, and creating a message out of dirt is somewhat poetic. Messages passed with reverse graffiti are powerful because they engage with us from a different perspective, reclaiming the public space in a positive way. From this, we can conclude that reverse graffiti does meet our three conditions. It does make use of the street. It is not confined by laws or systems. And it is eye-catching and does not damage property. Next is yarn bombing, which is the act of covering an object in colorful yarn. It can be difficult to do, but the results are amazing. You're going to need a plan, yarn, lots of yarn, and crochet hooks and knitting needles. For the purpose of this project, I am collaborating with my mom, who can crochet and knit much faster than I can. My goal for this art piece is to provide an eye-catching accent to an already beautiful area on our VIU campus. Like everything I am doing, the plan is to be positive. Yarn bombing is interesting because it allows a different generation as well as a different subset of art culture to get involved in graffiti. It works as a positive way to reclaim a public space, showcasing beautiful colors in sometimes drab locations. It is obviously graffiti. It can be political in nature, or it can be just art. Yarn bombing is accessible, friendly, and relatable. Yarn bombing is unique in that it creates graffiti out of something most people would typically not think of as a graffiti medium. As well, it allows those who would typically not engage in the act of graffiti to reclaim a space to participate. This creates a welcoming and friendly type of graffiti that is difficult to call a nuisance. Yarn bombing does meet the three conditions. It makes use of the street, it is not confined by laws, and it is eye-catching and doesn't damage the property. Finally, we have artificial reality graffiti. This graffiti is interesting because it exists in an essentially different world, meaning that you need a special device to view them or create them. For this example, all you need is a laptop and a smartphone. For the purpose of this project, I will be using LayAR as my means for creating AR art. Creating the art is simple. Just find a location, take a picture of it, and then go into LayAR and create a new campaign. Add your image and publish it. Viewing the location in LayAR reveals the hidden art. You can add real-life call to action graphics to encourage users to try it out. AR graffiti is interesting because it exists on a different plane, the internet. Without the internet, you can't create AR graffiti and you can't view it. The problem, of course, is that you are not really reclaiming the public space in the real world. This limits the access to the graffiti, which makes the art somewhat hard to justify as graffiti. What it does reveal is a potential future for graffiti, where cyber hackers could get into future tech surrounding artificial reality like Google Glass and then add in the graffiti to the surroundings. AR graffiti does not meet our three conditions. It does make use of the street, but it's not material to its meaning. It is confined by laws and systems. You need an application, you need a smartphone, it doesn't just jump at you. But it is beautiful, and it does not damage the property. Now that I've explored several different types of graffiti, I think it is important to reflect on my experience with them. Exploring these three types of graffiti has been extremely rewarding. Not only creating them, but watching people interact with them. My experiences and research in this area will be very useful going forward, and I am optimistic about the future of alternative forms of graffiti. I expect to see many different types of non-destructive graffiti to be developed in the future. With the shifting commodification surrounding graffiti and street art, it has become apparent to marketers that there is a need for products that fulfill that role. With that will come graffiti that is not illegal or destructive and will improve a public space. For more information regarding my research into this topic, please read the partner essay that is both in the description of the video as well as online at nanaimostreetart.info.